Hello folks, Dixie Rail Film Productions here, and welcome back to yet another train ride video. In today's video, and also to celebrate America's 250th anniversary, and also to celebrate TVRM's 65th anniversary, and celebrating 4501's 115th birthday, we'll be riding behind 4501 on the Summerville Steam Special Excursion, heading from Grand Junction Station to Summerville, Georgia. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as we travel through various cities. These cities include Chattanooga, Rossville, Fairview, Chickamauga, Rock Springs, Noble, Lafayette, Walnut Grove, Tryon, and finally to Summerville. And then eventually we will make a reverse trip back from Summerville to Grand Junction Station in Chattanooga in reverse. First up, we get a close-up look to 4501 coupling up to her train.
Welcome aboard.
As soon as she coupled up to her train and we had a close look at her, we would eventually depart Grand Junction Station a little after 9. I should also mention that we have yet a lot of other people, also known as foamers, chasing us.
Back to the train today, riding with you. I'm also going to be your onboard historian. Your other assistant conductor is Mr. Jacob. And up at the head end of our train, and again the head end for our reference is our steam locomotive, our 115-year-old steam locomotive serving the Railway 4501, is our engineer Travis, our fireman Tyler, and our head end conductor Kyle. All three of our fellows up on the head end are highly trained to be able to swap out throughout our trip today. So we got a really good crew for you today, folks. Today, folks, we're going to be exploring the hills of the Chattanooga and North Georgia area on board our historic train. And as I did say in the depot, we are very proud and honored that you chose to come spend your day with us here today on July 4th, Independence Day, celebrating the United States 250th birthday. Folks, we are very proud and honored to have you riding with us today on this amazingly special occasion. Thank you all so very much. Now, before we get into anything really exciting, I want to go ahead and go over some quick things. A few quick reminders. Per federal and state law, there is no smoking, vaping, or use of any tobacco products aboard the train. 58 called over its normal running level. And the Southern Railway decided they were going to make their locomotive. Construction because they didn't know which way to go around the ridge. The ridge was so wide they couldn't go around it, and so they had to go over it. They decided we have no choice but to plunge straight through it. Everybody, friends are. Well, if you are, just close your eyes. This tunnel we're going to be traveling through today, folks, was constructed over a 2-year period. Hold up. 1856 to 1858. Oh, there goes your hat. Would see upwards of 80 trains a day. 80. However, after the year 1906, when the line was elevated above the floodplain, they would upgrade it to feature double-track mainline operation. Trains would passing each other at the whopping speed of 60 miles an hour. Until they came to the tunnel, they would go down to the arguably scarier 0 miles an hour, because they had to wait for a train going the other direction to pass through first.
Look at the fence.
In the early 1950s, the Southern Railway decided that they were sick and tired of dealing with this major traffic jam here in the city of Chattanooga, specifically talking about that tunnel. So what they decided to do in 1954 was completely bypass the ridge. That bypass still in use today by the Southern Railway successor, that is Norfolk Southern Corporation. We as a museum were founded in 1961, so as a matter of fact, we're not only celebrating the 250th birthday of America, we're also celebrating our 65th anniversary of us existing as a railroad museum. We were donated this right of way in the 1970s. We have since been able to completely rebuild it from East Chattanooga to Grand Junction. At this point, folks, we are now hitting a switch, and for those of you who aren't
Eventually, we meet up with locomotive number 4617, the locomotive that has been assigned to the Missionary Bridge Local, which was actually what I previously ridden before. Those are Central Georgia 390, 661, and the Southern Railway 907 all share a very similar story. All three of these cars are built
at the exact same time by the exact same manufacturer for the exact same railroad, and wouldn't you believe it, for the exact same passenger train. These three were built for the Central of Georgia Railroad to be used on their most famous passenger train at the time, starting in 1947 by the American Car and Foundry Company. The passenger train was called the Nancy Hanks 2. What happened to Nancy Hanks 1? At the time, our county president, Paul Merriman, located the 4501 excursion box that up. Make sure you don't smile away with that, but they're probably going to wind up on YouTube. Lady or candy. Right. Matter of fact, there goes my buddy Caleb. Look, Caleb. Along with up here, folks, we're going to see a couple of things I want you to know about. You're going to see the Chattanooga Zoo here in just a few moments. That's going to be right along the right side of the train as we get closer to Hornet Park. The Chattanooga Zoo is home to about 500 animals among different 150 species. One thing I want to tell you about the zoo and that they've done in their massive conservation efforts is their extensive salamander research. Matter of fact, the hellbenders are found almost exclusively in Washington Valley, which is
How you doing, Josh? Good.
All right, folks. The cemetery here was established in the year 1863, the second largest national cemetery in the nation, with Arlington beating it. Arlington is the largest national cemetery in the country. In the cemetery, folks, there are approximately 64,500 visible markers for the servicemen and women who gave their all for our nation, laid to rest with their closest family members invisible with them. Hey, folks, we do like to honor them and make sure that they are without them, we would not be celebrating 250 years.
I agree.
And I'm going to tell you about that story here in just a few minutes. In the background, folks, in case you're not used to or unaware of the Chattanooga area, that is some really great things to check out. And you have the world's steepest incline railway, which I will talk about here.
It's the second biggest in the country.
Now, folks, on the left side of the train is the Lucy Boiler Company. As a matter of fact, when our steam locomotive 4501 first arrived to us here at the museum, this is where it was originally restored, on the left side of the train. You're also going to see some other parts of another steam locomotive. As a matter of fact, that is Atlantic Coastline 1504, or rather, what's left of it over here. That locomotive was just recently donated to us this year outside of the Crossville Cemetery. That is the frame and the tender of that steam locomotive. That was actually located in Jacksonville, Florida. And it was like 1504 was Florida. And it is now the last USRA life Pacific left reservation. After most of all time, the enemy is now evacuating supplies out of Chattanooga, clogging up the room. Andrews and his locomotive that he commandeered the General would leave Kingston mere minutes before Fuller and Company arrived on the Yona. Ford would commandeer the locomotive of William R. Smith, another 440 owned by the Rome Railroad, to continue the pursuit. Therefore, he manages to get a message off to General Denville Ledbetter in Chattanooga, where he's dropped off later in Dalton. The Raiders would abandon the
Call for the call out now, ain't it?
Oh yeah. Back in history. Back in the 1920s. That's what it feels like. Looking over real smooth.
Folks, at this point, I'll let y'all have a little bit of quiet time. I'm going to start talking again once we hit 23rd Street. And in case you want to know how much more I got to talk about, about 15 more pages. So if you get tired of me, there's a couple of things you can do. It's actually one thing that requires two things. Take your left index finger and your right index finger, put them in your ears. Trust me, you don't want to miss out what I have to say. And I like to present my history as a story. As you know, the last 5 letters of history is no story. I try to make that as presentable as possible. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions at any point during the tour, you can come find me on 907. And after you get through the first off, I'll go through the training and meet everybody and see how you do it. I'll be talking again here in about 5 or so minutes.
Next to the tracks.
Yeah, we're not going to live there. I live in the country. I don't live in the city anyway. Not much of a city guy.
me right there, folks. I'm filming this video as we're on 45.
That's a fast train.
Now at this point, we are now transferring off the East Chattanooga Belt Railway to the Central Georgia Railroad, which I'm going to talk to you about here in just a few minutes. Currently, in modern day, this part of our railroad that we're traveling over is actually operated by the local Southern Corporation. So for the next 4 or so miles, we are currently operating under their rules. Matter of fact, we had to call into their dispatcher. Of course, Norfolk Southern is one of the major Class 1 railroads here in the Southeast. Their dispatcher is located here in downtown Chattanooga. We had to call in to get permission to access their line with a big signal, which you can't see on the left side of the train. At this point, folks, in our history we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be going really hard and heavy into the history of Chattanooga as a whole. And then we'll later get into the central of Georgia and the city of Rossville, Georgia, that we're getting into shortly. In 1816, a gentleman by the name of John Ross, who later became principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, would establish what is known as Ross's Landing. Located along what is now Broad Street, it became one of the centers of Cherokee Nation settlement, which also extended into Georgia and Alabama. In 1838, the U.S. government forced the Cherokee along with other native areas here in this territory, what is now known as the state of Oklahoma. Their journey to the west became known as the Trail of Tears, for their exile and fatalities along the way. The United States Army used Ross's Landing as the site of one of 3 large internment camps, or immigration depots as they called it, where Native Americans were held before their journey on the Trail of Tears. In 1839, the community of Ross's Landing was incorporated as the city of Chattanooga. The city grew quickly, initially benefiting from a was the Georgia State Road, more commonly known as the Western and Atlantic Railroad. Since early 1836, by the Georgia military Tennessee River, this line was included in the city until May of 1850. They now operate under the state by CSX transportation. And last time I believe, last time I checked, I think CSX actually pays the state of Georgia about $1.5 million a year just to lease that line alone. The Western and Atlantic Railroad regained fame in April of 1862. Of course, if you remember, that was involving the great locomotive chase, otherwise known as Edgeworth's Raid. The second railroad to reach Chattanooga was the National Chattanooga Railroad, chartered in 1845 to connect its 2 namesake cities. It took them 9 years to complete this 150-mile stretch of track, with the entire railroad entering service in 1854. Towns along the line sprung up, one after the other. And some of these towns include Tullahoma, which is the home of the Arnold Air Force Base, Still Springs, Stevenson, Alabama, they named the first president of the road, Vernon K. Stevenson, Whiteside, Tennessee, named after Vice President James A. Whiteside, and others. The railroad was later reorganized as the National Chattanooga and St. Louis Railway, which became a subsidiary of the a little more natural following a constant takeover in the year 1980. DXC and St. L continued to operate under a joint identity as a subsidiary of BLM until 1957 when they were formally merged together. Today, this line is now operated by CSX. Was included in the merger that would form the Southern Railway, and today is still a major east-west artery for the Norfolk Southern Corporation. Tennessean, which I did mention a Southern Railway 832 and our train was used on, would run via the old Memphis and Charleston Railroad after Chattanooga. The Birmingham Special. Whiteside, Tennessee. On this line was very persuasion by him, and with his financial support, the Chattanooga extension was maintained on the Chattanooga constructed. Our toll that we passed on, I previously mentioned, was This is Georgia, and served as their main line to Chattanooga until their acquisition by the Southern Railway in 1963.
I'm like a 630 pin.
A large industrial building. This is the long abandoned Fearless Woolen Mills. Fearless Mill was at one time a second-largest producer of hosiery in the United States. The brick company that was brought to industry shut the mill down in 1961. They did so without engaging in collective bargaining with the mill's union workers. This is another famous spot. A lot of our rail fans have been talking about the train that right here. For good reason. However, we got a major storm factor. who had moved to Middle Georgia prior to the Civil War, built a cotton mill. The small community in central Georgia that grew up around his mill is still called Jewell, and his sister subsequently married a Colonel W.L.L. Bowen. Jewell and his brother-in-law reorganized the bag company, and it became the Bowen-Jewell Bag Company. Soon after, Colonel Bowen's nephew, A.S. Bowen, joined the company as a salesman. The company's first customers were the large grain mills in East Tennessee, and for this reason it was determined to move the company to Chattanooga in 1905. D.A. Jewell and business partner Colonel Bowen bought land in Chickamauga in 1907 from U.S. Senator Gordon Lee. The men had heard that Lee, the owner of the springs, was proud of his sharp business dealings and had sold Crystal Springs several times, only to repossess it as soon as the first payment was missed. Jewell and Bowen dressed themselves in their worst clothes and tried to look like less than affluent rural men. They approached Lee and discussed buying the land. When the price had been quoted, they told Lee to have the attorney draw up the papers, and they would return to work out the terms of purchase. When they came back, they were wearing their normal clothes and had their attorney with them. Rather than seeking terms, they paid in cash, and Lee had no choice but to relinquish the property. Today, the Jewell family can still be found in Chickamauga and are still among the town's wealthiest residents. Next time we're passing through is Rock Spring, Georgia. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Folks, we are now passing through the heart of Chickamauga, Georgia. On the right side of the train, as we cross over Gordon Street, you're going to see one of two original Central of Georgia depots that still stand today, built in 1891. Now, we do offer trips to Chickamauga, Georgia. That is our Chickamauga turn. We will be running that tomorrow. And that depot has been since converted into a local museum and a event center. And that is the building with the green roof. It's got the little tower on top of it, right here, right next to the train on the right. its three founders. They were Andrew Allgood, Spencer Marsh, and Debbie K. Briers. And that was done as a way to commemorate their partnership. see that bend to the right of the train. It's all the way back, folks. I can see it right back there. Now, folks, we arrive upon Summerville. Oh, stand by, folks. Alrighty, folks, I've got our information about the time. I'll take it out of here. You got about that here in just a second. Once we arrive in Summerville, folks, we're going to be inviting everybody off the train who'd like to. In order to get back to Chattanooga, we have to go to our turntable we have to do. That is located in historic Downey Park adjacent to the Coy House, which was built in the 1840s at a different location of Summerville Preservation. The turntable in Summerville, Georgia was built in 1918 by the American Bridge Company. take place. Car number 390 will be unloading right at 390. Cars 907 and 832 will be getting off at 907 and 832. You may make your way to the designated unloading location. We'll call you out where to go. And again, please make sure if you're leaving anything on the train, please leave it all in your seat. Not on the floor, in your seat. Now arriving, Summerville, Georgia.
As soon as we arrived into Summerville, Georgia, 4501 would eventually have to switch onto another siding, to eventually get onto the turntable, and we would eventually make our way to the turntable demonstration, as you can see ahead of me.
Yeah, I got it. I appreciate it.
As soon as she was done turning around, we would eventually have a 1 hour layover in Summerville. And then as soon as that was done, we would hop on board the train back on board by 1:50 p.m. and we would leave Summerville at 2 p.m. as scheduled. But before we would return to Grand Junction Station in Chattanooga, we would have yet another stop to make.
What we want to do is invite you off the train. We want you to be able to see what is happening with our steam locomotive and let you guys know with a really cool video of our train running by you. We are one of the few tourist railroads in the United States that still offers photo run-by opportunities with steam locomotive. What we're going to do is let y'all, we're going to back the train out of sight. We're going to have the engineer come running by us at full track speed of about 20 miles an hour. Yes, sir. No, you won't need me. Trust me, if they leave me, they're in more trouble than they. So folks, in order to get everybody off, we'll be unloading all passengers between cars 832 and 907. That's going to be toward the middle level of the train. So if you're in 390, you'll need to walk all the way to car 50 and 907 to get off. And again, folks, we'll be arriving very shortly. And this will only be about a 15 to 20 minute stop. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me or Jacob. We'll be more than happy to explain it more to you. But again,
If you remember correctly from watching this video, you also remember that I also mentioned we have yet another stop to make. Well, here we are, welcoming to Rock Springs, Georgia, where we would get our first and only one photo run by 4501. I was actually surprised that they did this, but I was thankful enough to get at least one shot of 4501 pulling a train before I headed home. Thankfully, from now on that I know that this is actually what they do, this has become the best part so far on this trip.
Freedom moving on the bottom. Watch your head when that gate comes down. Don't want to knock you out. That'd ruin that shot. Here she comes. My whole day.
As soon as 4501 had backed up back at the crossing, lining up the coaches onto the crossing, it was time to get back on board and head back to Grand Junction Station, approximately at 6 p.m. as scheduled. notice how I got a back view in this car? Well, that's because I was in car number 390, which was actually right behind 4501. After 4501 has actually turned around the turntable and recoupled to the other end of the train, 390 had a clear back view, which was really nice to see.
lacking. You're lacking. You're lacking. Everybody else got it. Oh, man. Oh my God, the technique is there. It's because the train on this side, I have this machine spirit. Okay, now he's speaking more. Speaking what? You got Warhammer 4 or stuff? Oh, I didn't hear. I've been trained as a metal warhammer. I played one time, and that was the most body odor I've ever smelled. Yes, there are a lot of those players, but I'm talking about warhammer players. Just like over 800. Something I'm going to need when I go. Oh, we're all going to need something. Yes, I have to get my hair grown. That is if we get home alive. Look, shot on downtown Chattanooga. I was going to do a video earlier. I was like, I feel like I have the driest of most desert scalps. Like, it's like sand. Because it's all focused on sat down. I've been in the open compartment the entire time. I was sitting down and waiting for them to book the tickets or check the tickets again and waiting on them to drop off. I don't need no ticket. I ride this train for free. Boomer! It's a reoccurring thing. Listen, that was like pretty close. Like if I put sauce on it, like bumpers, bumpers, bumpers. Literally sounded like it was going, sounded like it was going, about this far out from the Your engineer's Travis Gordon. He stopped caring about coming to a slow stop 10 years ago. Well, you know, I've only been working here less than a year, and I've only read the missionary bridge local, so you know, it's my first time on Summerville. Well, I'm glad you didn't come on the first Summerville trip. It's your first time, and it wouldn't broke down. I mean, I chased this first Summerville train. I was sitting here.
Speak to me, Josh Frere! I know you! I know where you live! I know where you live!
This guy goes in.
Hypocrite! What are you doing?
I doubt that's the truth.
They would have slowed down back at the Hooverville.
Yeah. I do hope the dude can go back to the other one and get that one. That's still probably like asshole too. The things back there, the things that are like.
Not 4.5. I do apologize. And again, folks, my name is Jason. I was your historian and assistant conductor today on your trip back in time from the ride north to Summerville, Georgia. However, if you did not enjoy your trip today, well, in that case, my name is Michael. And this is the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad of Cumberland, Maryland. Next stop is Frostburg, Maryland. Now, a couple things for you to remember, folks. Your ticket today does include free admission into our exhibit building, which closed at 5 o'clock today. So, why am I telling you this? Well, you are more than welcome to come back tomorrow with your ticket. If you still have it, if you do lose it in the process, that's okay too. You are more than welcome to go visit our exhibit building. And they'll let you right in. As a matter of fact, my mother will be the one working there tomorrow. So tell Jason sent you in, and then she'll let you in, no worries. Speaking of which, make sure to visit our gift shop on your way out today. If you have not done so already, please visit our Car 50 in case anybody wants to make any last-minute purchases of some very specific Summerville special items that are available here. Otherwise, you can visit our gift shop at Grand Junction. We have a wider variety of options available in there if you would like to choose that. And again, my mother, Miss Carl, will be working in there, so y'all can tell her how good or bad of a job I did for you tonight. If you have any other questions, feel free to stop me or Jacob on the platform or the ramp. We'll be happy to answer anything else you might have. We'll be seeing you folks back at Grand Junction here in about another 15 or 20 some minutes. We're going to get to our destination at Grand Junction. One more time, so like I said, if you pass through the tunnel, make sure to pull out your cell phone, turn your flashlights on, and get your phone up to the window. That way you can see the tunnel as we pass through. When we do arrive at Grand Junction, folks, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and have everybody do it this time. Please look around where you are sitting. Make sure you have collected all of your personal belongings. That includes your wallets, cameras, children, in-laws, and etc. And if you have any collected garbage, please make sure you grab that collected garbage and throw it away as you exit off the train and be provided with receptacles on or off the train. We would be greatly appreciative of that. Folks, we are now pulling into our main last 3 miles of our trip. So when we do arrive and we get back at Grand Junction after we cross over that last bridge over the creek, I would like you to please remain in your seats until we have come to a complete stop. And then, and only then, when we do come to a complete stop, as a matter of fact, when I meant that, we'll go ahead and take care of that. We'll let you know when it's time to exit off the train. We'll have to probably stop twice. That's why I'm saying that now. Folks, next stop's going to be Grand Junction.
Yes, that was.
here at this point, we will meet the dinner train with Southern 5000.
Make a grown man cry. But I'm this grown man. Get back in the tube.
Well, folks, as soon as we arrived back at Grand Junction Station, this would conclude my entire trip on the Summerville Steam Special Excursion behind 4501. And with that, folks, if you all enjoyed this video, please smash the like button down below, comment on your thoughts in the comment sections below, subscribe for more content, and turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video, and happy 4th of July to one and all, and happy 250th anniversary to the USA.